Today, I wanted to recap some money mistakes that I made in my early 20s and how I'm recovering from them, and hopefully share a thing or two and you guys can learn from it and not make the same mistakes I did. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Zane. I'm 27 years old and I'm currently on a goal right now to building $100,000 invested before I turn 30. I'm currently at about $35,000, $36,000 invested, so we're just shy of halfway. I know $15,000 is not a small sum of money by any means, but it's motivating nonetheless that we're just one step closer to that overall goal. So to kick things off, some of the early mistakes that I made financially that some came back to, haunt me a little bit. The first one that I want to talk about is comparisons. It's very easy to get caught in this game of comparing yourself to other people. And early on in your 20s, maybe you're just starting a career, maybe you're still in college, who knows. But at the very least, everybody wants to impress their friends, impress a girlfriend, whatever it may be, right? And I think it's easy to get caught up in that because you just want to seem like you fit in with everybody else. And for me, it was the going and hanging out, getting dinner frequently, going out and spending money on drinks every now and again, and just overall trying to show that I can spend money like my friends, because maybe my friends didn't have a plan, and at the time I didn't. We'll touch more on that in a second. But ultimately, playing this game of this person's doing that, so I think I can do it too. And we commonly hear it referred to as keeping up with the Jones. It doesn't just refer to being in your midlife and, having a home, buying a new car, whatever it may be, but it plays on that same aspect a little bit where, say, your buddy gets a brand new car, you think you need one too. I know that's a pretty drastic and pretty high out there purchase, but it happens. And I'm just speaking from my life personally. A lot of what I saw were my friends getting into hobbies and me thinking that I needed to be in that same exact hobby to keep the friendship going. And when I found myself comparing to where they were and what they had invested in whatever hobby they were participating in, I felt like I needed to one up, or I think one up's a bad example because I wasn't ever competing with them, but I would definitely try to be on their same level and show that I can relate in some capacity. And I found myself, struggling to make a savings for myself and find that balance of going and hanging out and staying up to date with the latest that they were in. A lot of what I participated in my early 20s was playing hockey, and I would compare where my friends were at with their skill level and their frequency of play, and I would think to myself, hey, you know what, maybe I do need to play on a second team. Maybe I do need to go and play pickup with these buddies of mine so that way we can all get better and have, a better system when we play together for fun. And the hockey seasons that I participated in were not cheap. They were about $500-$600 a season, and playing on two, three teams definitely gets costly. And at the time I was working part-time, so coming up with almost $1,500 to $1,800 was really not within my budget. But I tried to make it work so that way I can be with everybody and have a good time. And what I touched on earlier was not having a plan, and I think that is another big lesson that I can still take away from in my 20s. I have a career and I'm a little bit more established right now, but early on, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and not knowing what I wanted to do put me on a path of spending money aimlessly because I just wanted to chase and find out what made me happy. And I don't want to make it sound like that's a bad thing, because I think everybody should chase their dreams in some capacity, but there's a way to meaningfully do it and not get caught up in spending money that you don't have. And for me, like I said, I've wanted to try so many different things in life. And one of the things that I did try was trying to become an EMT. And I completed the course, and I just have yet to take the NREMT. That's just something I'm lagging on. I definitely need to do it before the knowledge fades. But it parallels into this story of not knowing exactly what I want to do. Like I said, I have a career, but sometimes I don't feel like it's entirely for me. And when I feel like that, I feel like I need to compensate and make up for it in other aspects and try different things. It's the classic jack of all trades, master of none. I put my chips in a bunch of different investments rather than trying to narrow it down. And that's led me to spend a lot of money in the process of trying to hunt where I want to be. And I think there's a way that, you can go about it financially that doesn't put you in a hole per se. And, you can test things out for free. You can learn things online for free nowadays. And I think that's the best place to start before you just kind of dive head first. Do your thorough research. That's something that really, kind of gets me sometimes. Yes, I research a lot of what I do, but I also have this mentality of I'm just going to do it at 100% and not give up. And while it's encouraging when you start to see results and you start to find your passion, if you're anything like myself, sometimes that passion fades rather quickly, and then you're left with all of this gear, books, miscellaneous items for whatever you were pursuing. And unfortunately, there's nothing left to pursue within it because you've lost the passion, so to speak. Another money mistake that I made in my 20s was dating. And this one's a little bit funny, and maybe a lot of people can relate to it on any level whatsoever. I'm married now, thankfully, and I love my wife dearly. But prior to meeting her, I would go on dates, and I was always raised with the mentality that the gentleman needs to pay for the first date and maybe some other dates that ensue from there to just kind of show overall interest. And while a lot of it kind of does remain true, I do think that the gentleman should, offer to pay for the first date if they, of course, initiate it. And in doing so, there's a way to live within your means, and you'll soon find the person that is right for you if they want to meet and match, where it is that you are in life. For me early on, sometimes that meant going to really nice dinners and paying for the entire bill, and then just kind of setting this expectation moving forward that because I did make good money at the time in my early 20s, working as a Zamboni driver at a hockey rink, I thought that I could afford these luxuries. I didn't have any debt. I didn't have any real plan set forth, and I didn't have any goals that I was saving towards. And I guess the overarching, lesson to be learned is just having a goal of some kind, whether it be financial or for your career growth, whatever it may be. Having a goal to narrow where you are and what path you want to be on will really help you in determining your next step. And for me, like I said, a lot of it was not having that goal in mind and thinking that I can keep up with friends that, maybe didn't also have goals and thought that spending their money was the best option. Going on dates that I couldn't afford. And it wasn't until I met my wife that she was insistent on, maybe not me paying for everything, but, we take turns every once in a while, depending upon what the date is, of course, and occasionally splitting it. And I'm not saying that's the reason why I married her or stuck with her at all, but it was just something that illuminated my mind that, I hadn't prior experienced. And it really sort of makes me reflect now and create this video for you guys and share that there's different ways to approach financial burdens in life, so to speak. And some of them are just taking a step back and thinking them out clearly and knowing what it is that you ultimately want. And I know sometimes being in your 20s, you want a lot of things and you want to, chase all of them. And while it's a great ambition to have, I think you can also take a step back, really sort of analyze where you're at financially and see if it makes sense. If I had done so, I think I would be sitting on a little bit more money invested today than I am. But these are just some of the lessons that I learned along the way, and I hope that you can learn a thing or two from them as well. If any of this was relatable, I would love to hear some funny stories in the comments. Please drop them down, and we could just have a good laugh and ultimately show people that you can make mistakes in life, and it's how you bounce back from them that determines where you're going overall. And I hope that this was encouraging to some of you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.